Hi, one of the problems with Vlookup or any lookup is that it cannot handle duplicate values. So here I have a table of values here, and I'm going to create a lookup right now, a Vlookup. I'm going to say Vlookup, and the value is going to come from here. And I'm going to take this as my table array, and the column index I'm going to take as 2, and I want a exact match. I'm going to say false and hit enter. So I'm getting an error here, so now I'm going to type in May, and I get 7. As you can see, May is aligned with 7 here. So I'm going to go in here, and as you can see, I've got two duplicate values here. I have January here, and I've got January right here. But these are not duplicates, they have unique corresponding values. But if I type in January, I'm always going to get the first instance of the value. So January and then 8. Now in order to solve this problem with duplicate values, usually Excel users will create another column here, and they'll create a unique value, and they'll base that as their criteria. Now there's another way you can do that through code. So now I'm just going to delete this. So I'm going to go into File, and I'm going to go Save As, and click More Options, and I'm going to save it as a Xcell'N file. Right. And so now I'm going to go back. Now I'm going to just go over here, and I'm going to create that table all over again. So I'm going to type in months, and I'm going to say January, and now I'm just going to put the filler handle right here until I get the black cross, and just go down, and I get the months. Now if you want to know how I did that, go into File, go into Options, and go into Advanced, and just go down to General right here, and you'll see edit custom links. You click that, and you can add your own list here. Just make sure that they are separated by commas, and you click Add. Cancel out of that. I'm going to go here, I'm going to type in units sold, and I'm going to create a random set of values. So I'm going to say equals random. I'm going to say between, let's say 5 and 10, and I'm just going to copy this down. Alright, so I'm going to go here now. I'm going to say sales. I'm going to type in equals dollar, and I'm going to say random between, let's say 200 and 900. As you can see, the values here are changing. So I'm going to highlight everything here, do Control C, right click in the middle, and I'm going to paste just the values here because I want to get rid of the formulas. Alright, so now I'm going to go here and press Control T. So I'm going to do Control A, and I'm going to go into Home and just center that. Okay, so now make sure you have also the developer count active, the developer tab active, sorry. And then when you've done that, and make sure that, like I said, you have it set to Xcell'N before we start playing around with the functions here. So now that this is set to Xcell'N, which is a macro file, I'm going to go into Insert, and I'm going to just click here, the combo box. You can use the combo box or the list box. Now I'm going to right click here, I'm going to format it, and I'm going to select my input range. My input range is going to be this set of values here. My cell link is going to be, I'm going to say G1, and the cell link is very important. Alright, so now when I click that, as you can see, I've got all my values here. Now when I click January, I get the index value of 1. If I click May, I get 5. Now if I create another value here, another entry, sorry, I'm going to say January, and let's say 3, let's say, and let me just go and convert that into a currency. Alright, so now I've got two duplicate values here, but they're not duplicates. As you can see, they have distinct corresponding values here. So, but because it's a table, it'll update itself. So if I click here, I've got January here, I've got January here. Now this January here is January 1. This January down here has an index value of 13. Right, so this index value is very important because I'm going to use it in VB code. Okay, now one more thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this range right here, and I'm going to call it months. Right, so I'm just going to go here into the cell box here and call it months and hit enter. So now I'm going to go into developer and go into Visual Basic. Right, so I'm going to go into insert now and insert a module. I'm going to create a sub procedure here. I'm going to call it any random name. I'm going to say look one. Hit enter. I'm going to create a range object here. Now I'm going to assign the range. I'm going to say set RNG equals range, open parentheses, and I do believe I called that months, didn't I? Let me just go and check. Let me go into formulas and go into name manager. Yeah, it was called months. Let me just close that. Go back into developer. I should press just Alt F11. Okay, so now I'm going to create a integer. I'm going to say, let's say val as integer. I'm going to set the val to the value of range, and that's G1. I want the index value. G1 is this right here. So it's whatever value, whatever selection I make here in the list, in the combo list, is going to appear here, and I can access it from here. Now I'm going to create a range loop. Sorry, I'm going to say for x equals 0 to rng dot rows dot count, and now I'm going to say, I'm going to put a conditional statement in. I'm going to say if x equals val, then range, and now I'm going to take this range right here. I'm going to say, I want to put the values, let's say right here. So I'm going to say that's h6. Then I'm going to say h6 dot value equals rng x. And now I'm going to say rng i6 dot value equals rng x. And now I'm going to use the offset. I'm going to say offset 0, 1 dot value. Okay, so I've got h6 and i6. So this is going to be h6, and this will hold the value for i6. So I need one more. So I'm going to say range open parentheses hij6 dot value equals rng x dot offset 0 2 dot value. Now I'm going to say, okay, now I'm going to say exit 4 and if and next x. All right, so let me just tab this over. Okay, so what I've done here is, this is going to give me whatever value I have here. So whatever the user selects here is not so important. What's important is the corresponding index number. So that number is always unique, and that's what I needed. So that's why I created this right here. So this will hold the unique value in G1. Now I'm going to create this loop, and this loop is going to loop through here months. It's going to loop through this range of values that we title months. And if x, so x is going to start at 0, and if x is equal to the value here, then I'm going to make a change here. I'm going to extract the values here, and I'm going to put, let's say, the months here in H6. I'm going to put the units sold in I6 and so on. All right, so let's just try this. I'm going to just click in here. So no errors. And now I have, as you can see, okay, let me just go back up here. I'm going to click January, the first one. and it's not working because I forgot to set this. Okay, let me just go here and assign the macro, and the macro is going to go to this one right here. Alright, so now if I click here and let's say February, I get February 9 and the corresponding value. If I go here, let's say June, I get June's values. If I go here to January, I get January. That's January. This one here is the first January in the list. I get the corresponding values. Now if I go back to the last January down here, I get those values here. Now if I go here and create another February, and I say, let's say 9, and I'm going to just say 100, and I'll just leave it at that. Now look here, the list has updated itself to include February. Now if I click February, I get February's values here. Okay, so that's it for this. So thanks.